What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mod J and we are locked in. We got 2 episodes left for 0 Day. And in episode 5, we know Roger just left us. RIP to that brother. But hey, the game goes on. We don't know what information Evan Green done gave up since he done got choked out and tortured a little bit. Sheila's supposed to testify against her husband George. He passed the test, but it looks like everything is coming crashing down and we still don't have answers. Are we going to get our money out of the bank? But before we jump into this and break down episode 5, if you like thriller, you like murder mystery, well, I wouldn't even say it's really a murder mystery. We know who got Roger, the Russians did, or was it the billionaires? But if you like this kind of content, then hit your subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button. We're on that road to 75,000 subscribers, so I appreciate each and every one of you. I sped it up a little bit, slow it down. Let's jump into episode 5 to recap a 0 Day. We start the episode off hot. Evan Green is getting out of here. We seen what they were doing. They put him in that torture rack down there. His lawyer's talking about he should have never been detained. Evan whispers, I just want to go home. Yeah, George wasn't playing around, but I'm sure George got some answers while he was down there. That's the only reason they released him. You're going to have to come up with something. As Denzel would say, I'm leaving with something. And George, he's cracking down, especially with the unaliving of Roger. George is stressed out, and as I told you in episode 4, he was thinking about his son who killed Bambi. His son OD'd. Roger was like a son. We know that Roger was involved with his daughter Alex, and he was basically telling his wife the same thing that happened with his son happened to Roger, quote unquote OD, and he never got to tell them how proud he was of the work they did. He said he seen his son outside practicing. He did some pass or catch or something of that nature, but he was so busy he never got to tell his son, good job, son. And he never got to tell Roger how good he was doing. But Sheila's telling him, you can't put that kind of stress on you. It happens like that sometimes. That's why you always got to tell your loved ones you love them. The Speaker of the House has been coming for George ever since he got put into the 0 Day committee. And the commission as the commissioner of it. So he's telling the president, he's like, listen, Madam President, it was a mistake getting George, but if we reclaim the 0 Day commission, we can change this. We can fix everything. Now, there's a lot of pressure being put onto the president. Unlike what we have going on right now, where our senators, they're just bending the knee. They're supposed to apply that pressure and stop the president from doing certain things. So that's what the speaker is trying to get here, and he wants to be put in charge of it. Now, with all of these congressmen doing this, the president, she got to tell him, hey, George, I need answers. You got 48 hours. Remember I told you everything is starting to crumble? Well, Carl's talking to George and telling him, hey, man, those photos, they were deep fakes. So now it's got him wondering, was Roger trying to throw me off? Did Roger really OD? Everything is questionable. And that's why I say everyone is a suspect until we remove them. So now George's mind is everywhere, and we start hearing who killed Bambi in his head again. And we like, oh, here we go. We thought we got past this. Now, Carl, loyalist. He's going to do whatever it takes. George, you tell him what to do, he'll get it done. And he's like, we're going to do a little more digging. But those photos, they were fake. Sheila is testifying against her husband. You know, normally you don't have to do this. But if she wants to become Congress, this is something you're going to have to go out there and do. Now, they're asking her, hey, has your husband made mistakes? Is your husband competent enough to do the job? Is your husband loyal enough to America to complete this? And what she does is basically flip it on him and say, yeah, he was the former president. He's capable of doing this. Remember, he took the conjugal test and he passed it. So right now what she's doing is defending her husband, but also answering the questions. The Speaker of the House doesn't like this because he's trying to get George's job and get him the hell up out of there. Because remember, he's trying to run for president, and this will look good running for president. Oh, I was on the 0 Day commission. Yeah, I made sure nothing else happened. RIP to Roger. Today they lay him to rest. Everyone shows up. At first, people were telling George, you shouldn't go out to this. You know, he OD'd. It's not going to look good. You really got those 48 hours to knock out this commission or you're going to be removed. But remember, he's treating Roger like another son. He lost his son and then he lost Roger. And he knows that his daughter loved Roger, even if it was for a little bit. So he shows up, Carl's there, Alex is there, and everyone's paying their respects to Roger. Even though he threw us off with those photos and was playing both sides, we still got to show our respect. After the funeral, Alex and George, they sit down. And this is where they're just going over everything that's been happening. Now remember, she was supposed to be oversight over her dad. The Speaker of the House has been talking directly to her because, he wants that job. But she's asking, why did George open up the casket to see Roger one last time? He just wanted to see him. It's just that bond. And he tells his daughter, listen, I know y'all were close and I liked Roger. I had him close. Valerie told us to separate him from us a little bit, but Roger was working with us. Roger was helping us out. And I do believe everything that I'm doing for the 0-Day Commission is the best for the United States of America. So it's a give and take. You love your parent, you love your daughter, but you both have your own agenda. Boss man George goes back to his office and he brings out his book, Who Killed Bambi? Who Killed Bambi? But as he flips through it, in the back of his book, there's a note to Boss. He opens it up and it's actually a note from Roger. Remember when he went in the drawer and we thought he was taking the book? He actually left a note and it's everything that he heard. I just wanted you to know, Red Rooster is the Blue Hawk, Axis Falcon, LD Alpha, India, November, en route to 7890123456. Roger, that current status, Yankee Bravo. So basically, Roger, even though he was playing both sides, he still had a heart and he helped out and he left some valuable clues to help them decipher what they're hearing over the radio. With all that information, they bring up the board. You got to have a good board when you're trying to solve a case. And now they got the codes. They're going all analog because if you go digital, it's easy to hack into. 1140 on the radio. So now they need to bring in some cryptologists that can come in here and try to crack this code that they're speaking in and find out when things are being moved, what money is being transferred, how are they linking up with each other. So Roger, from the grave, he's actually helping us out. Thank you, Roger. Thank you. Now they got one of these young men in here, an IT guru, and he's just running all kinds of algorithms trying to crack this code. But then he puts in a little deciphering. Let me see what oh, shucks. Here it is. So every day from the day that it happened, the alphabet moves. So on day one, the first letter isn't A, it's actually going to be B. So 1B, 2C. Then the next day, the first letter would be C. So it'd be 1C, 2D, and so on and so on. Every single day, the letters cycle through. So now they didn't crack this, and they're seeing the bank, midnight, change. Oh man, it's all coming together. They take what they didn't crack, they put together a whole nice presentation to take to the president. But remember, she's already told him, you're on a timer. You got to figure this out. But Lyndon, the billionaire, he didn't went into hiding, but he's just one part of it. He got the money to help move stuff, but there's other pieces that they still need to put together. So he's trying to tell the president, Madam President, please give us some time. We already done linked Evan Green to this. Now we got this billionaire Lyndon into it. Just give us some more time. And she's like, I don't know, because we need solid evidence on any of this. And right now it's just speculation. We get a message coming in from Red Rooster to Blue Hawk, reporting to Blue Hawk, confirm Red Rooster, in line of duty, awaiting new orders, fair seas, what's your status? Blue Hawk says, confirm Blue Hawk, no change. News from Prince, Emmett Kelly quit? And they say unclear. Now they're trying to figure out who the heck Emmett Kelly is, but really it's just a jab at George. They're seeing if he quit the 0-Day Commission, but no one knows after everything that's happened. So it kind of has you wondering who's in on this. How would they know who's working on the 0-Day Commission unless they had some insider information? Now Roger is gone, so who would still be around to give up that information? George, knowing that his back is against the wall and that timer's on, we know Lyndon went dark. So what they're doing is imitating Red Rooster. So they didn't put a translator on theirs, a voice demodulator, and he's getting on there and he's basically trying to bait them, make them believe that he's somebody he isn't. He's asking them, where you guys at? What is the reporting? We have some unfinished business. Now that unfinished business that he's talking about is Roger. He's saying you need to go over there and clean up the Roger incident, so nothing to come back to us. Blue Hawk is telling him, nah, I don't have anything to do with that. I'm not going to do it. But as he's being quote unquote Red Rooster, he tells you to hell with that. You need to go over there and clean it up. So they're setting this person up so they can, ultimately catch him, pull Evan Green on him. This man George is nothing to play with. Well, they set this guy up. They told him to go clean up the apartment, make sure everything is wiped down. They get facial recognition and they find out that the gentleman that they were on, Blue Hawk, they were talking to, he has an intensive background in IT work, but he worked for a company that was end up being bought by Kidder. Remember Kidder? She came in for their interview. She owns Panoply. Now we got us a connection. He works for Panoply. He does IT, and he was the one on the radio. So not only do we have Linden involved, we got Green involved, and now we got Kidder, one of the biggest technology CEOs in the country. They send a task force over to Kidder's house. When they get there, Carl is stopped at the door. He's like, we have a warrant, even though they don't need a warrant. Kidder, she has armed security herself, but what she does is get online and start streaming this. Because you remember what happened in Waco. Some of y'all might be too young, but Waco was televised and it was a big showdown. I'm talking about a lot of bodies, a lot on both sides, the police and the cult side. So she's live streaming this because it's less likely that they kick in the door and use brute force. So it's kind of a standstill right now. Kidder says, listen, I'll talk to George and Valerie, that's it. Private call, no recordings, no one else in the room. Right now, she's trying to negotiate. When she gets on the phone, she drops a bombshell. Let me just go ahead and tell you guys what's going on here. We had speculation of Valerie and George messing around, but it turns out she owns a DNA company. Some kid submitted their DNA, and we found out that the DNA is a match between George and Valerie. They have a 12-year-old love child that was conceived while he was the president. So this is her trying to blackmail them. Y'all let me off of this and I won't tell anybody. So Sheila had her suspicions. Alex had her suspicions about them messing around. And it turns out she actually had a baby. Oh my goodness, George. Not my dog, George. If anybody, it could have been Roger. It could have been the speaker, but not George. One thing leads to another. Somebody's on the roof and it looks like he got a gun. Wait a minute. He does got a gun. And they start firing off. It's kind of like the Revolutionary War. We don't know who fired the first shot, but someone did. And now everyone's going at it. Carlton got hit in the chest. Bow! They got snipers on the roof. They getting knocked off because they ain't really trained like that. They private security, but they don't have the ammunition and the weaponry that the feds got. So they going at it. Everyone's getting shot at. Kidder's inside because she didn't think it was going to get escalated like this. And this is where I'm sitting up watching this episode like, yeah, get them. We got to get the bad guys. That's all we want is our money out the bank. And these bad guys are the ones stopping us from getting our money. They make the announcement that Kidder is arrested and they don't really have answers. We know the president's assistant's about to come to New York. It looks like they're going to shut this 0-day commission down. We know Carl's recovering and he tells Valerie after all of this is said and done, he wants to meet his daughter, his other daughter, the 12-year-old. So at least he's trying to step up and make things happen. But remember what I told you earlier. He's the former president. At the end of the day, life is going to go on for him. Secret Service, he's going to get his salary. He can go do speaking engagements. He really doesn't, have anything else that he has to do in life. So no one's really going to care. Well, right when we thought we was going to get some answers about what the hell is going on, George gets a phone call while he's at home. And it turns out Kidder, well, she's quote unquote unalived in her jail cell, Epstein style, with a noose around her neck. We're not going to get any information. And mysteriously, just all the cameras were out when this happened. So we know it wasn't a unaliving, a self-unaliving. Someone did this to prevent her from talking and spilling all the information about this 0-day attack. All right, there you go. One episode left. This was episode 5, 0-day. Do you think Kidder did this on her own, or somebody, maybe the Speaker of the House, sent people in there? They got people in high places. They got Roger out of here. They billionaires. Let me know what you think. One episode left. I'm Moda J. See you tomorrow for episode 6, 0 Day. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.